If you guys will indulge me while I clean up and talk at the same time, just have a lot going on and need to multitask. I appreciate it. This is going to be a controversial video. The reason I say that is simply because I know it's going to strike a chord with one or more of you. This is about Savage. I've noted before that one of the I don't know, drawbacks, I guess, concerning the Savage is that within its community there's a lot of people who will often repeat things that they have heard, but do so in a fashion to where they act as if it's gospel. That's what's up. If you were to go and Google aluminum shock towers for the Savage, okay, what you would find is primarily two things. One, people adamantly against it. And two, the reason being because they prefer, or often the truck needs the flex of plastic shock towers. Okay, so basically it's a cardinal sin to have aluminum shock towers for the Savage. Why? Because that's what people say. And really it's not even the fact that people say this, they repeat what they've been told. Often you'll see people get really adamant about it. I'll give you a little exercise here toward the end of the video to do, but the issue in my mind is that you'll Google, you'll read all this stuff, no one's challenging it. You might find me out there challenging it because, well, I am, right? Let's think through this, okay? I mean, I have already, in my mind, performed enough analysis to determine that the plastic shock towers inside of an HPI Savage truck running 4 big bore, small, whatever, 4 shocks, the plastic shock towers are the primary point of failure. Okay? They are the primary point of failure. In other words, 90% of the breakage, okay, that I used to have on my Savage is now gone away because, why? I'm confident it's because aluminum shock towers. I mean, you kind of have a scenario in your mind where you go, okay, I believe this is why it's happening. I'm seeing evidence of it. You change, right? You make the change. It no longer occurs. Well, you tell me. I don't know. I stand behind the fact that not only are they not a liability, they're almost a must-have. But what about that flex? I mean, let's think about this. What about that flex? Well, I guess the way I would look at it is, what the hell does that mean? Flex in your... what does that mean? Okay, now let's take a look at some vehicles here. You're going to find some similarities among these vehicles. First and foremost, they are extremely durable machines. And they all have either aluminum towers or preferably the material that is the opposite of flex, which would be carbon fiber in this example because it just breaks. Hyper 7, this vehicle doesn't break. Mugen MBX 6, 7, crazy durable, rocking carbon fiber towers. Lucy 810, you guys might, snicker, but out of the box, this is a zillion times more durable than the Savage out of the box. But anyways, It comes with aluminum towers, but I don't want flex, so I put carbon fiber. Here we have potentially the most durable vehicle over the past decade, Lucier 2.0. You have the option of aluminum or carbon fiber, but you don't get the option for plastic. If you're like me and you change out engines and pipes a lot, you've noticed that the springs that make up an inline pipe, such as like these springs here, the wraparound type, whatever, are going to eventually wear. Here's a little tip that is one of those, well, it's common sense, but I don't know, you may have not even thought about it. Good way to save your springs. You should be able to see here that this manifold spring is simply too long. It's not going to do any good. Unless, of course, we do something about it, specifically shorten the length of the spring. So pretty simple. First thing I'll normally do is cut it just a tad. Then you simply get this bad boy, curve it up. Now this bitch is on there tight. And that's how we roll. B5 2013 is in effect. So these all have aluminum or carbon fiber towers. Once again, the antithesis of flex. It's called rigidity. Rigidity, right? Why is that? Is it that the Savage is different? Now I understand it uses a TVP chassis design, a twin vertical plate chassis, but you know, I found out that with that sort of a design, flex is the last thing you want up front or in the rear. Then of course you're going to have people that, yeah man, I don't use them because, you know, you can bend aluminum towers. You can't bend plastic towers. Well, okay, this is one of those things where technically that's true, but in reality it's not. Let me explain. I went ahead and I counted. I've had 26 different distinct shock towers that were made up of either aluminum or carbon fiber, and this is comprised of 16 different brands. Okay? In other words, like for Team Losi as an example, I might have one aluminum, one carbon fiber, but that's one brand. Out of these 26 aluminum and or carbon fiber shock towers, I have bent 2. This is one from a Tamiya 801XT, and this is one from Lucier 10. And I promise you, they were taken to the woodshed and back during the time that these were bent. Now, at the risk of trying to do some math in my head, out of 26, I've bent 2, so that's 7%, right? So there's the probability, okay, is a 7% chance of bending one of these. And I assure you, again, I have a pretty wide breadth of makes, and they were taken to the woodshed, like I said, okay? So they earned, these bends right here were earned, okay? They were not flukes, okay? Now, for what it's worth, carbon fiber, I have yet to ever break a single piece of carbon fiber, okay? 7% chance. Now, plastic shock towers, I've had 8 of these, okay? These are just, the other ones are in a box, but I've had 8 of these, and I have managed to not bend, but distort 100% of them, all 8 of them, okay? Oh, by the way, it happened to be on a Savage. So, short version, in my experience, which again, I think I have the data to show it's a pretty, I can substantiate this. 7% chance with aluminum, 100% chance with plastic. Why is it again, there's an argument about you can bend aluminum? You know, it's like, yeah, I get that, It's very rare to do, and if you're worried about it, you get carbon fiber. But well, how is that compared against something that does become bent 100% of the time? Again, this is just my experience, but it's just my experience. These guys that are saying we need flex and blah, 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 what experience do they have? Very little, I promise, okay? Which is fine. Just ignore them. For what it's worth, let me tell you why these become distorted. You ever notice how there is a front and a rear to these towers? To where in the original versions there were shocks on both sides? Well, that was to help stabilize it, to help make it rigid. Take that away, it's not rigid anymore, etc., etc. Of course, yes, people come up with these funky designs where they lock them down and stuff like that. That's cool, but why not make it just like 100% of the rest of the durable RC surface vehicles out there and go with either aluminum or carbon fiber? I know why. Because you were told not to. Well, have no fear, because now you do have permission to do so. See where I'm going? Now listen, since I've put it on the table, I think that a lot of people at this point in time have a decision to make. Especially those of you who have uttered the words or typed the sentence, you don't want an aluminum tower because you need flex in your Savage, okay? It's okay if you've written that. It's okay if you've repeated that. Now, what I will ask is if you can elaborate on that and talk us through exactly what that means, and more importantly, though, why they are, why aluminum is a liability here, then go ahead. You know, I mean, I've asked and asked and asked, never have had it, so it's never too late to open your eyes and go down that right path, okay? Never too late, guys. This is my hope for you. You're going to find there's some people that, for whatever reason, they will save face no matter what. That's all they care about. But I care about what you care about, and that's having badass RC vehicles.